Go to, yeah. So if you play this, okay, it grows like this. And you can also control the rotation according to colors. So that's what I wanted to achieve. Yeah. And if you turn this visibility off, and you can also place the correct texture and use only the colors to really prevent, to really control different kinds of properties of the geometries. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, because it's getting closer to 1 hour, so I'm going to share the working one. So everything, to me, everything works. Yeah, it's working okay, but somehow some stuff, it's making it not spreading. I think I need to think about why. Okay, but let me share this one, but also share the other one. So I want you to play this and let me show you what I want you to try to fix for today's exercise, homework, okay? So this one I'm gonna share as well. So go to folder. Go to our folder. Today is day 4. I want to share this one. So my DLA is the one that we just built in the class. And then this one, this working one. Working one. I'll go to my assets. Open Explorer. Okay, so this working one is DLA create _ simple. Okay. So are you okay with that? So let me show you how you use this one, the working one. Okay. Because I don't want to waste time, and you know the principle at least. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my script, my DLA. I'm going to turn it off. Right click, make a new one, DLA working, whatever. And then I'm going to bring this DLA create simple, the one that I just shared, and then bring that to the DLA working. And you need to put the prefab. So everything else is similar, very similar. Just few things is set so it works. And it grows as clusters. So let me know if this works for you now. So make this work on your computer. And I will just show you a few areas you want to modify and play with. And for next class, I can continue the previous one and I will show you what was wrong. Yeah, so we don't have to do that over class. Does this work for you? Okay. So I want you to see, so here you see, like I was changing their rotation based on the R value. Do you see that? Do you remember in our first exercise, I was asking you to change their height according to their either G value or B value, yeah? So I'm hoping that you can play with that, yeah. And in this script, let's have a look. So go to your script, DLA create _ simple. So scroll down. There are a few things different. Don't worry about it. Here, line number 75. Here I'm getting the C value, R value, G value, B value. Oh, R, G, B. So there was a mistake. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm trying to let them influence my Y rotation differently. So please play with that kind of combination. So you can also change the degree from 0 to 180 to 0 to 360. So that's a degree. Or different numbers. Also, you can use the color information to change their size. For example, transform dot local scale, and new vector 3. And maybe I can try to play with G value. So it grows in Y direction. So 0, G value is from 0 to 1. So I can plus 1, so it doesn't go below 1. And times something like 0.2f, so very subtle. Or not too tall direction. I think I want to scale Z direction instead of Y. So we can see the elongation. So I can change this a little bit bigger. Okay, let's see. So if it's closer to green area, it should grow longer. Let's see. Okay, now it's not working. Let me turn this off. Okay, so the rotation works very well. But the scale, local scale, oh, because I made it 0. So you cannot have 0 scale because it becomes small. So you have to minimum 1. Okay, that's good. So when it becomes greener, it becomes longer. So you can decide not to take the color. So if you just want this to reflect on geometry, you can turn off the color. So here I'm actually applying the render color, but you can turn that off. So now I wish everybody can read my script and be able to modify it. Okay. So can you try to do some interesting changes? Maybe you can challenge yourself to maybe change the seed position, initial seed position, or initial seed can have multiple seed. Yeah. So I want you to kind of create your own challenge a little bit and let me know what kind of code you want to modify and we can talk about that. But if you just make it into this level, it's also fine. So as a homework, what do we want? So Control C, while we pause, we turn it off, then turn this back on. Okay, so they lost some material information. So I'm going to Shift H to isolate them. Select all of them and give a default material. I'm going to make a new material. Create white. And give material white material to everybody. And then Shift H to de-isolate. Okay. Now you have this interesting terrain. Last week I also covered how to generate your own terrain. Today I'm going to cover a little bit more. Okay, so we can go back to our material and make a new material, and terrain map real. And then for this one, we are going to use the image. Yeah. And now because we are not going to run the generation, so we are gonna turn this off. So we can use this real map instead. So yeah, you can, this one doesn't match, but. So the color is only used to inform your treatment of geometries, yeah? But you don't want to use that for visibilities. Yeah, so okay, so once you have generated your city, previously you know how to just change or organize a camera angle just by playing the game. Today I'm going to show you how to animate the camera. Yeah, so click on your camera. And then maybe first scene, maybe I want to start from here. So Shift Control F. So you see our scene, game scene changed. Okay. So here you see there is no component here. Select your camera and go to Window, Animation, Animation. You get this window. Get this new window. To make it easier, you can connect this here. So there's animator, there's animation. So you are using animation. Okay. So now this camera has an animation, but we didn't create it yet. So say create. And let's make a new folder, say animation. Then say cam animation. So now you have a new animator hooked up in the property here. Okay, so only thing we want to animate is its location and rotation. So add property, transform, add the position, add property, transform, add the rotation. We don't need to add scale. Okay, here you can see the timeline. And you can stretch the time. You can also use mouse to change the visibility. So you can try to play. It's 1 second. Yeah. So maybe we can try to make a 3-second video. And these are the keys. So these are the keys. You can select the keys and stretch it to 3. So we make 3-second video. Okay. So let's move our timer maybe somewhere around 1. And then here I'm going to move my camera. So maybe by the time in 1 second, I want to be there. Yeah. So you move your camera, you move your scene camera. So in the game, it didn't move. And then now you control shift F while you select your main camera. Let me put the game scene somewhere there, somewhere here. Yeah. So main camera, control shift F. I move the main camera now. I need to add key here. So add key by clicking here. Does it make sense? So now if you play now in the game, it goes from there to there. And then it's gonna come back to there. Yeah, so you can key that again. So by the time second, let me see where I wanna be. Maybe I wanna be a little higher. And then I wanna go higher first. Control Shift F, key. And then I'm gonna move forward. Let me see where I wanna be. They actually go linearly, so you don't wanna go too far at once. It smoothes out for you, but not like this very well. Yeah, and then now click on it, Control Shift F, key. And then these keys I want to delete. And then by this time I want to go above. Maybe like this. By this time, Control Shift F and key. And then go all the way far. By 3 seconds, Control Shift F and key. And then you can play. It's too fast. Yeah. So we can easily select all of them and stretch it. Also, that's fast. So we can even stretch it. That's better. Yeah. And you can micromanage all these keys. Yeah. Okay. So animation, I covered animation, which is very simple. And now you can just export this video, right? Okay. So animation is one thing I wanted to cover today. And then let me see. Okay, animation. Okay. All right. So, and then I also wanted to have that toggle button, but like now we actually stopped the DLA. But it will be really fun if you have this animation by having the DLA growing at the same time. So, but in this case, I have to go back to my color, right? So I'm going to make 2 terrains. So this terrain is for visibility only. In this terrain, I'm going to use the previous material with the color. So if I turn this off, you have this. This one is colorful. This one is for visibility, okay? And in DLA, and for visibility, I'm going to turn the mesh collider off. And this one, actually it should be on. Okay. And if this visibility is a problem, like move it slightly down if it doesn't show you a proper one. Also, during the class, I was suggesting for this terrain, for the visibility, it should be slightly moved up or something, but it shouldn't, that is not really professional. So there is a way to do it, go about it, is to have the visibility one turn, select the one for visibility and turn off the mesh collider, and select the one for the color information and turn off the mesh renderer. But make sure they're coexisting in the same location. I think that is the most correct way to go about it. Yeah, I think it should be on in the scene. And now if you play this, if it doesn't have mesh collider, it's not going to collide. Yeah, so now it's working. But it's also having the animation. So it's going to be quite fun. It's not going to be exact though. There is a way to force exactly the randomness. I also want to cover about the random seeds that we were talking about during the class. So when we regenerate, it always generates different random geometries, right? So in order to make sure that every time it generates the same result, we want to do something about the random. So in order to do that, we are going to declare a random system dot random. So before we were using unity random, but we are using system random, and then name it, say, my random, and declare it inside the class as a global variable. And instead of declaring that in start, we are going to forcefully use this unity function called awake. It's unity embedded function. And it's happening even before the start. So when you so it actually calculates, make sure that you forcefully make everything calculates before anything being calculated anyways. So here we are going to make a new system random dot random. Yeah, and if you leave the blank, this bracket blank, you will get the new result every time. But if you put a number there, for example, 0 or any number, any integer, will forcefully make a random number always the same. So if you want to change the result, you can change this number to something else. And if you're happy with that result, and if you want to stick to that, you can just keep that number. If you change the number, your result will change. Okay, so inside awake, you can do that, and then now here we have to use my random instead of the unity random. So just to show you the difference, I'm going to just copy paste this line and comment this out and use my random instead of random range. So let me just delete everything here, and then my random is a system random, and it can use this next double as a command or as a function to pick and generate the next available number that is already inside this list. And it gives you a double, so from 0 to 1. It also has a function called next, but it gives you an integer, so you cannot use this one. So you need to use double, random double, and this returns you a number from 0 to 1. So in order for us to use a number from that can give us a randomness from -20 to 20, we have to do something. For example, we need to times 40 and minus 20. So in this way, we can forcefully make a random number from 0 to 1 to become minus 20 to 20. And this is a double. This is not a float, so this will error at the end. So make sure that you convert this to float. So just by having a bracket before a double, it will convert a double into a float. So we are going to copy this line, Control C, Control V, and the second line, what do we want? We need from 0 to 0.5, right? So times 0.5 F should work. And then the last one is still, so copy paste this one, times minus 40 minus 20. Control S, and this way every time your randomness will be the same. And just in order to test this, I want to constrain the maximum number of this generation. So I'm going to say if all prefabs count is smaller than 200, I will do the update. So just copy paste the entire thing here. You can always change this one as a global output. So let's do this. So I'm going to add public integer max count is now 200, but I think you might want more. But this, yeah. So if you want more, you can increase this one. Okay, so max count is set to 200 right now, and then now I'm going to save this, play. Alright, so I have 200 of them. I'm going to Control C while I'm pausing the game, close the game, Control V. And I also realized because it's snapping to a collider, and if all of my cubes have collider, it's going to generate on top of these boxes. So I cannot compare, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to Shift H to isolate the view, select all of them and turn off my box collider. And just for visibility, I'm going to just select like one of the whatever random material there to make sure it looks different from what I generate. Okay, now Control H and back to the scene. So make sure now, also you need to turn this, my DLA off, so it doesn't play twice. Okay, so now this is a comparable, and let me generate to see if it exactly generates in the same position. Yeah, so the new one is generated exactly on the same location. So this way you can pause and set your camera, and then let them grow again while your animation of camera is playing. Okay.